Hey everybody, Luke here. I've got 2,500 points of Orcs and Goblins versus, what's this? A new challenger appears? Lizardmen got a new book. This is fantastic. This is great. I'm very excited. It looks cool. I read through the book. I'm like, holy crap, there's some great stuff in here. And so I took this battle report when I was out in New Hampshire visiting my family. I got my brother-in-law and my father-in-law into Warhammer a couple years ago. There's a bunch of friends out there that play. So basically, once a year when we do our family trip out there, I spend $100 FedExing my Warhammer armies out there. And this year was Orcs and Goblins, last year was Vampires. I only got one game on a battle report this time. We actually were playing Blood Bowl Team Manager for Fantasy Flight quite a bit, just kind of a card game. And we did a couple other games, but we were just not really making battle reports for them. We were just playing. So this is what I've got. You know, most people go on vacation and they have pictures of them at the beach or whatever. I go on vacation and look, I've got two little pictures of Warhammer guys and a nice battle report to show from it. So let's get it on. Here's what the board looks like. Terrain's pretty basic. We've got the cork boards in the middle, and on the left are representing forests. We've got a building on the right, a hill that I've got a spear checker on, and then on the left over here, we have a monument to Halo Reach, just representing, it's supposed to be a Banestone. We forget all about it, so it's just a passable terrain mountain. Okay, so here's what my brother-in-law has for Lizardmen. He's trying the new Ripperdactyls, and if you're not familiar with them, they're basically frenzied versions of Pterodons, and they're a new unit. They have Frenzy and Killing Blow, which is pretty great on their own, but get this. Here's what makes them badass. They can play something called a Toad Marker on a unit after deployment, whatever unit they want. Now, in the fluff, basically what's happening is skinks run out in the battlefield and put these toads in your unit, and the toads are notorious. They go in and they eat the eggs of the Ripperdactyls and the young. So what happens is when the Ripperdactyls smell and sense that the toads are out there in your unit, it drives them into an even further frenzy. So instead of getting a +1 on Frenzy versus a unit with a Toad Marker, Ripperdactyls get D3 +1, and they get to reroll their misses. That's on top of Killing Blow and I think Strength 5. It's awesome. This is fantastic. And any Ripperdactyl unit will benefit from a Toad Marker. So you could have 2, conceivably 3 groups of these just tearing the hell out of things. So you could put it on a unit that you want to just obliterate, maybe get in the flank, fly these guys around, or you could just put it, which is exactly what my brother-in-law does here, put it in a group of Savage Orcs that has the level 4 in there, and then just do a line dive at the caster. You could just eat that caster for breakfast, especially if he's something like Cav. Yeah, gets killed on Killing Blow, 6 up, send all those attacks at him. Vampire buses, gotta fear that. High Elf character buses, Empire buses. That's awesome. I mean, I am really in love with this mechanic. I think it's fantastic. It's also not a super unit. It's got a lot of counters. It's frenzied. It's kind of weak if you throw stuff at it, but this is going to be great. I'm very excited to see how these work. So for the rest of the army, he's got skinks. He's trying skink skirmishing with javelins this time to see what those will be like. Then he's got Saurus warriors, sword and board, 20 of them. He's got his Slan in his group of temple guards, so now he's passing all lookoutsers automatically. And I think they're unbreakable or maybe just stubborn now. So for the Slan, if you don't know, it's really hard to you can't make the Slan anywhere like what he was before. He doesn't have all these disciplines he can take anymore. He has quite a few. They're just not as powerful. That's very good. The one that my brother-in-law took is Lore Master on High Magic, which is really great. And High Magic is just like High Elves have. The Lore attribute lets him swap out a spell after he successfully casts one from any other spell he can generate. Don't be fooled. The Slan is still the best caster in the game, in my opinion. He's more expensive than almost everyone else, but he comes with 5 wounds and a 4-up ward to begin with. And he's a level 4 without having to pay to upgrade it. This guy's still awesome. And because you aren't likely to throw as many points into his disciplines, you have more points to throw around on skink characters, skink priests who can now take the lore of beasts, and other heroes like Carnosaurs. And that's exactly what my brother-in-law does. You'll see here in a minute. His other troops, he has a Bastillodon. I had to buy him some new kit to celebrate his new army, so I got him a Bastillodon. He was in the process of building it. He's doing the Solar Engine version. There's 2 versions, one with a little solar engine that has a random strength, bound spell level 3. That's what he's using. There's also another one that increases jungle swarm bases. It's not really as good. But it's a fun little monster, 150 points. Not super good, but does have 1 strength 10 attack. Then he's got 20 more Saurus, sword and board. Then he has 4 Crocs. Croxagore went down in points and went up to strength 7. So these guys are hard-hitting bastards. I like them. I got to watch out for those guys. I've written down Old Blood, but that is not an Old Blood. That is a, what do they call him? Scarvet, the hero version on a Carnosaur. So now with those extra points, he's able to rock out a monster that's pretty scary on his hero. Doesn't ultimately care too much if it goes down because it's not a ton of points. And that Carnosaur, you know, he's got D3 wounds on all his bites. He's ferocious. The Scarvet on top has, like, you know, 1-up armor save. He could give him the Dawnstone or something for re-rolling it. I mean, that guy's going to be a threat. Next, he's got a second group of Skinks for symmetry with on this side of the board, and then an Ancient Stag with the Engine of the Gods upgrade and the Sharpened Tusks that will make his impact hits do D3 wounds. That's awesome. So on my side, I wanted a balanced army. I didn't want to go too heavy into war machines, too heavy into infantry, whatever. Just wanted to show him what Orcs and Goblins can do, and he's never seen them before. So this is what I got. I have an Arachnarok. I have a Spear Chukka on a hill, a Boar Chariot and a Wolf Chariot. I have 1 Doom Diver this time, 5 Wolf Riders out front, 20 Black Orcs, just enough that I can have enough guys to deal with some places where I need high strength, strength 7. Then I've got 6 Trolls because he should feel the pain of Trolls. It's awesome. He's, you know, I put them right across from his Crocs because I don't care about that high strength. He's going to have to get through my regen, and I've got more models than he does, so I'm excited about that. Hopefully I can tie him up. Got a Mangler Squig. Then I've got my standard big group of Savages, Lucky Shrunken Head, my Black Orc BSBs in there to stop him from failing Animosity, and my Savage Orc Shaman level 4. You can see the blue arrows pointing to the Toad marker. Got my Night Goblins with a level 1 in there. Boar Boys on the left, 5 of them, a Boar Chariot, and a second Spear Chukka. So hopefully somewhat balanced. We go to Lizardman turn 1. Everything just moves up here on the flank. He's getting aggressive, getting ready to shoot and get into combat. On this side, he does the same thing. Everyone's moving up. He's kind of watching out for that forest in the middle. Doesn't want to be denied steadfast. Doesn't really know what it is yet. And then he keeps his the flank of his Ripperdactyls and stuff just kind of... I've got a Chariot off the camera there on the left, so he's not moving up too aggressively so that he has to charge next turn, or that I can charge him. So we go to Magic. It's 5 dice to 3. He tries to throw Walk Between Worlds out on these Skinks, believe it or not. And I thought that was kind of weird. But what he wanted to do was get him around my my Goblin Wolf Riders, who I kind of put up there sacrificially. If he could do that, then he could just start blowing up my War Machines and hopefully that Chariot before it gets into his grill. So I actually thought that was kind of fun, a good idea, but I was able to dispel it. During shooting, Javelins take out 2 Wolves, but I pass my Panic test. And we go to my turn 1 here. So I fail Animosity with my Savages, of course, giving him a truly accurate view of what it's like to play Orcs and Goblins. First unit fails, and it's the big one. So the Black Orc swings and kills 2 to keep everyone in line, but now I can act freely. On this flank, I take advantage of the fact that Skinks are down 1 point of leadership. They're Cold-Blooded Leader 5 now, and I charge them with the Terror Causer, and they flee. Then I just fail the charge, but that's perfectly fine. I'm not overcommitted, and those guys are out of the way. Feeling good there. For the rest of movement, my Mangler doesn't go up very far to begin with, so I just kind of march my Trolls out front. I block off his Croxagore, so he's got to fight my Wolves first. Obviously, he'll kill him, unless he rolls really painfully bad. But then I've got Trolls to answer that, and Black Orcs and Chariots coming up from behind. And there's just a lot of junk to get in there, so I'm feeling pretty decent with that. On this side, I fail a charge with my Boar Boys on his Skinks. Don't take any to stand and shoot issues. And just move up a little bit, keeping the leadership bubble on my general, still affecting the Trolls, still getting a reroll. So I basically I'm not moving them up too far. And then my Night Goblins move up to get ready to start tarpeting people if I'm lucky. So in my Magic phase, it's also 5 dice to 3. I throw all 5 dice at Hand of Gork. Want to give him an introduction to how great Orcs and Goblin magic is, and I definitely Irresistible Force, as you can see, and I move the Mangler Squig right here, so I think this is fantastic placement. I'm very happy with this. I had enough distance. Now I can basically threaten who I want. I can go all the way down his lines, blowing up the hell out of everyone, and then be messing with the Ripperdactyls, or he's going to have to move someone onto him if he doesn't want to rely on magic and shooting. Hopefully he'll move his Carnosaur on there or something. But yeah, now I'm up in his business, and he knows to fear that guy, so I'm very happy. During the miscast, gosh, I don't think anything major happened. I can't quite remember. However, during shooting, the Doom Diver and the 2 Spear Chukkas misfire, and 1 Spear Chukka blows itself up. So I feel like this is a very accurate Orcs and Goblins turn 1 for him. Oh, this is fantastic. So it's Lizardman turn 2. He charges with his Croxagore. I flee with my Wolves. I was like, well, yeah, I'll just flee, and maybe he'll fail the redirect. And he didn't. He was able to redirect on his Crocs into my Trolls. That's fine. Takes his Bastiladon and charges it into the flank. I wasn't expecting that one, but gosh, he has at least one strength 10 attack. I've got regen, but we'll see what he can do. Then he moves up with everyone else. Moves the Carnosaur forward, not really committing him yet, and just keeping him where he can get into who he wants. He kind of went back and forth on where to put him, and I think he wanted to do Walk Between Worlds on him. I think that was his plan when we get to the Magic phase next. Then he moves the Skinks, rallies them, and he's going to get ready to shoot at the Mangler. Oh, but that's right, they can't shoot. So he just arcs them in case of, whatever's going to happen here, but they just rallied, so they can't shoot. Over here, he moves up with the Saurus, and that releases my 3 Fanatics. You can see one just stops right in the middle of my tar pit. I send one over to mess with his Skinks. It lands right in front, and I send one in front of the Saurus, so he just stops, does not continue his movement, which is pretty great. Ripperdactyls move up so that if I fail my Frenzy, he's going to come in. I'm going to go into him, but he's right across from my level 4 and my BSB, so that could be really painful. And his Magic phase is 5/5. He throws, you can see here, he's angled his slant so you can see the Mangler Squig, and he throws the first few dice on Soul Quench. I think he throws 3 dice at it, and I throw 4 to try to stop it, but I fail. I just rolled really poorly for the Dispel. He gets 8 hits and kills it, and then he throws his last 2 dice at the Bounce spell on the Stegodon, and I was able to dispel that. Then he chooses to forget Soul Quench because he doesn't need it really anymore, and gets Wisson's Wild Form, which is a fantastic use of that lore attribute. Oh my god, I love it. Over here, during shooting, he rolls no poison, believe it or not. And it's weird, like, I expect a lot more, but when you're taking Javelins, you don't have the -1 because you can't multi-shot, but just, if you don't get poisons, you're kind of screwed. He landed like 1 or 2 wounds, but I was able to armor save him just fine. So in combat, the Bastiladon takes 1 puke from the guy back on him and takes a wound. I end up puking on the high armor save, decent toughness Crocs, and I kill 4. He was able to kill 3 right through my regen with all of his attacks. 3 got through, 3 wounds rather, only 1 dead, and that's a tie combat, so I'm feeling good about that. Orcs and Goblins turn 2. Now it's all in. Now it's time to show them, again, what the Orcs and Goblins do when you get too close to them. So it's Black Orcs right into the corner of his Croxagore, Savages right into the flank of the Bastiladon, and I'm hoping just to plow through these guys. I send 2 Chariots right at his Carnosaur, and I'm going to blow that guy out of the water. Feeling all good, and I feel a charge right into the flank over the building of my Arachnarok into his Stegodon. I wanted to show him all that poison and the fact that I could go over a building. Nothing is safe, and we were laughing, and I just thought it was funny that I failed this big over-the-building trick I wanted to do to him. On this flank, the Chariot and the Boar Boys go into the Skinks. My Fanatics fly around. One of them goes through the Ripperdactyls, does 1 wound only, and the other one just barely misses my Boar Boys, but is right behind him. And then, I don't know where the third one went, man. Who the hell knows? We go to Magic. It's pretty great. So now I've got a decent Magic phase. It's 8 dice to 6. I throw my first 2 die at Gork will fix it, and I take a wound on my level 1. Can't cast, eats the bad die, takes a wound. His casting is over. Now it's 6 to 6. So in true Orcs and Goblins fashion, I pick up 6 dice. I go at foot of Gork. Direct hit, irresistible force. He passes his Lookout Star on his land because that's automatic now, as long as he has the numbers. And I hit 14 and kill 11. And he's looking at me like, what did you just do? And I pick up the dice, and I said, oh, that was juiced up. Here we go for the multiple stomp. And Gork walks away. And we were laughing because I was explaining to him, oh, no, look, my luck here, he's going to stomp the shit out of my own guys. It's just what happens. But it was pretty fun. So anyway, I have whittled that unit down. A little more shooting, and there won't be any Lookout Sirs there because there won't be enough models. During the miscast, let's see, what the hell happened? Oh yeah, we blew up. And I had the Magic Resistance 1 item, so I was able to ward save that pretty fine. But 4 of my Savages did die, and I put another wound on his Bastiladon. Got a little bit out of it, I guess. So I guess I must have forgot about my Wolves earlier. They had panicked through my Spear Chukka. Now it can't shoot, but it's gone. Just can't shoot for a while. Wasn't doing anything anyway. During the rest of the shooting does really nothing. We go to close combat. I do 3 wounds on impact hits, slamming in, and that was all I could do. I threw him at the Carnosaur. I think I think we had to randomize impact hits. I know we had to look it up. We weren't sure how it was working. When it was all said and done, 3 ended up on the Carnosaur, none on the Old Blood, or on the Scarvet, and then he just chomped with his Carnosaur and ate the shit out of my Boar Chariot. Even though he directed a couple attacks, the Wolf Chariot didn't land anything, and then the Carnosaur with his D3 wounds just ate the hell out of it. Yeah, I definitely lost that combat, but I stick. Over here, it's what you'd expect. My Savages kill Bastillodon, just bust that combat right in half, because without the Bastillodon there, it's now 2 separate combats. So I overrun with the Savages, and I clip the Saurus on the corner. You have to go back and treat that like a normal charge, and now I'm into the Saurus warriors, both in the forest, so no steadfast, and I think it was just a normal forest, but now it's going to get bloody. The other part of the combat, the Black Orcs swing, I puke, break the Croxagore, and catch them with the Trolls. I do not try to pursue my Black Orcs, just kind of angle them. I don't really want to overcommit them. I catch them with the Trolls, and the Trolls then clip and get into the flank of the Carnosaur. And I'm like, man, that's exactly what I want here, baby. On my turn, yeah, I break the Skinks, run through. I overrun because I want to get out of sight of his Saurus so I don't have to flee or anything. And feeling good about that. So it's Lizardman turn 3. His Saurus and Ripperdactyls go into my Night Goblins, and I mean, I hope I'm going to be steadfast for at least 1 round, but now because of charging, getting out of there, I'm not going to have any leadership bonus. It's just going to be on a 6. I really should maybe get some other Night Goblin characters to bump the leadership up a little bit or something like that. But I always get in these positions where these guys are going to be steadfast for a little bit, but they're never going to have a good leadership. So we'll see what happens there. He moves his Skinks up here so he can shoot at my Arachnarok. The Stegodon actually fails a charge into the flank of my Savages. I was worried about that. I didn't really realize when I got in there that it was going to be so open, but and my BSB was right there. He could have just done quite a few wounds to either the unit or the BSB, but thankfully he failed it. So I'm feeling lucky. In Magic, it's 7 dice to 4. He casts the Juice Up Hand of Glory on his Saurus, and that draws my Dispel Scroll. I'm about to lose my caster anyway, because now he's in combat, so why not throw it? And then he was able to use the rest of his dice to get Wisson's Wild Form off on the Saurus. Again, a spell he just swapped for. In shooting, yet another round of no poison. He hasn't landed a single poison attack with his Skinks yet, so I think he's going to be going back to Blowpipes just for the sheer more numbers of things. In close combat, I net the Ripperdactyls because they were the scary ones. I take 4, 5, something like that, but I'm steadfast and luckily stick, rolling a 4. Ooh, that's probably not going to happen much longer because I'm not going to be steadfast much longer. Let's see, what page is that? Okay, over here, I do 8, he does 5, and he sticks on a 4, cold-blooded, but needs the reroll from the BSB. So this land is a BSB here, and I almost had those guys broke, and I was feeling pretty good. Now, yeah, I don't know. I didn't lose the combat, I'm still frenzied, but yeah, it's just never good when they're able to pass a leader 4 on a cold-blooded reroll. You just feel like there's no way through unless you're going to kill them. What do we got here? I puke and kill the Carnosaur, but he puts 2 wounds on my chariot, and the hero just falls to the ground. So now I've got to deal with him for another round. But they're still locked in combat, but that's not too bad. And just a close-up showing that the Carnosaur is dead. All right, Greenskins turn 3. I charge with my Arachnarok, and he's able to pass the terror test and hold, so I'm going to make quick work of them and hopefully overrun to a Stegodon. I would have rather gotten into the Stegodon or panicked them both and caught one, but that's what you get. Move my Black Orcs over so I can start threatening his Slan. I move the upper left here. You can see just my my mobile side is just turning so I can face and threaten his Slan a bit. During Magic, it's 5 to 5. I go for Here We Go, and he's able to dispel it. I think I barely got it off there with a really crappy roll. He had no problem getting it off. Oh, he also had the Slan discipline of re-rolling first failed Dispel every round. He didn't need it because I rolled like butt in standard Mork and Gork fashion, but there we go. During shooting, Doomdiver fires, kills a couple Temple Guard, so I think he's down now where he's not going to get any lookouts, so I'm happy about that, but that's like the only shooting that's hit. Everything else is missing or misfiring or blowing themselves up. In close combat, I do 1 wound, he gets a couple wounds in. I'm steadfast, but I break, and he was able to catch me, and then he does not chase with the Ripperdactyl so that he can, just off to the right there, there's Ripperdactyls. He's down to 3 models, but he's looking right at the flake of my Savages, and he's got the Toad Rage on them, so he's feeling good about this. And that's my turn, so on his turn, he's going to be able to charge. Yeah, we go to the Savage Orc fight next. So I pick up my dice, roll a ton of hits, just a ton. Only missed with 2, roll the wounds, and only hit with 3, or only wound with 3. It was just, oh, it was perfect into Orcs and Goblins. So we've got some seriously dwindled numbers here. He stuck. I haven't lost Frenzy yet, but now I got Ripperdactyls coming at me. So we go to Lizardman turn 4. That's what happens. Rippers into the flank. We fly into the magic phase here. Don't have a lot of pictures. It's 9 dice to 6. He throws Irresistible Force, Hand of Glory on 3 dice. Gets him on the Saurus. Gets +1 weapon skill, initiative, ballistic. Or, I'm sorry, it's +2 to weapon skill, initiative, movement, ballistic skill. And then he loses 3 levels on his land. Forgets Walk Between Worlds, Hand of Glory, and an Arcane Unforging. And that was the next spell that was coming at me. He wanted to get rid of that Lucky Shrunken Head because I saved a shit ton of wounds with it last round. But having lost all those levels and forgetting the spell, the magic phase ends, and I get to keep my Shrunken Head. Well, at least until he kills me. I hadn't shown a picture of this last turn, but I was able to kill Skinks and overrun into his Ancient Stag. And my initiative is higher, so I go first. I pick up the 1 dice to roll the Venom Surge, which is the D6 wounder if it wounds. Roll it, poison it, he fails the attack, does 6 wounds, kills the stag in the first roll. I end up rolling him anyway to see what I do, get 2 more wounds. But I love when that Venom Surge hits. No one's expecting it. Oh, it was great. The Scarvet in the last round had killed the Chariot, but it's a push. I'm throwing 4 pukes at him a turn, and I'm rolling like butt, like 1s and 2s. I cannot wound this guy. So we're stuck here. So in the Ripperdactyl fight, he picks up his dice. He rolls 3 for the number of extra attacks on the D3. So I think that's like 15 attacks. 15 attacks, strength 5, killing blow, which really doesn't matter here, but he's rerolling his hits. Even with the rerolls, he rolled really poorly, and he only landed 4 wounds. So that kind of sucked for him, and I was able to shrug off all but 1 of them from the Ripperdactyl. So that was just some bad luck on his end. These guys are still fantastic. You know, that Lucky Shrunken Head came through for me here, but this could really be insane. Had I not just rolled out of my ass, it would have been insane. He got a couple of predatory fighter attacks. Ended up getting a lot of misses, though. I think he got 10 hits on the Savages with the Saurus. I saved 3 of 5 and ended up taking 2 more from them, so I'm down 5 total on my end. I lose combat, so Frenzy's gone, but I stick on a 7 rerollable. I end up losing by 1. So now I got to help these guys out. And that's what I'm going to do. Greenskins turn 4, time to rescue the Savages. Ragnarok comes flying across, having eaten the Ancient Stag, comes into the flank of his Saurus. He's ready for that. Black Orcs make it into the flank of the Ripperdactyls. Time to take care of that as well. Magic, it's 12 to 6. I throw 6 dice at foot of Gork. He dispels it with all of his 6 because he's scared to death of it. No look out, sir, now. And then I throw 6 dice at Ear We Go. Get Irresistible Force. So now all my Orcs are re-rolling. I blow up. I'll kill a couple Saurus. I only lose 1 Savage. Feeling good about that. We go to shooting. The Doom Diver kills a couple Saurus as well. Up here, I think maybe 4 or something like that, or however many was left. I've killed them down to this number, and the Doom Diver did the last few of them here. Over here, it's a push again with the Old Blood. I freaking fail again. 4 pukes on him. I can't wound any of them. It's ridiculous. He's really not able to do much to me either, even though he's a badass in combat. I'm regenning like a fiend. In fact, those are my 4 regen rolls, I think. And it's a push. So all the Savages die from the Ripperdactyls. They did not roll like butt this time and just ate them, getting to go first. The Shaman and BSB are basically alone, fighting the Saurus with the Ragnarok. There's only 1 Saurus left at the end of combat here, and those Ripperdactyls are seriously dwindled, but not yet dead. Reinforcements on his side, this is just showing they're slow to come. They had spent his last turn turning around and coming up there. We go to Lizardman turn 5. He's not able to charge in with his reinforcements that I showed you on the last slide, but he does throw his, in a brave move, he throws his Slan and his Temple Guard, just try to take out my caster, maybe my BSB. It's just so few models here, he's ready to go all in. His Old Blood chomps another damn troll and lives, and I can't really wound him. It's bizarre. So I stick with a reroll, and I ended up losing that. It's just weird. I should be mopping this guy up with my pukes, but I can't get enough on him. We killed the last Saurus warrior and reformed, so now I'm only in combat with the Slan, and he whiffs all of his attacks and everything on my Savage and BSB. I don't think there was any challenging shenanigans, but if there were, we just shrugged it off. So now we go to Greenskins turn 5. The freed up Ragnarok now charges in. The Black Orcs were able to charge in, eating the last Ripperdactyl on my turn, and so now it's really going to be over for those guys. And I guess it's just a shot of what it looks like at the end. And I finally kill the old blood. And that's the end of the game. Believe it or not. Not much left. So it was a really fun game. I mean, I always say that, but this was. I like the new Lizardmen a lot. I like all the variety of stuff out there. A lot of the new units I'm not too impressed with, like the Troglodon thing, even though I like the model. I think the Bastillodon's pretty good because he's not too expensive. I like seeing more Carnosaurs out there on Heroes. I like the way that the Slan's been balanced, but it's still probably the best caster in the game. And I thought it was fun. It was hopefully a good introduction to Orcs and Goblins and some fun tactics that my brother-in-law got to see. I think he did a decent job, and he had the right kind of matchups there. I got to kind of deploy after him. I had more drops, so hopefully I kind of showed him like getting to pick the guys with regen against his Kroxigor, and how I was able to kind of take him out of the game and hold up stuff. But yeah, it was a good game. Lizardmen are cool, and stay tuned for more. Thanks, guys.